Welcome back, I'm DRN, and this is Mechabellum, a patch discussion. Today's patch is going to be the launch of the new unit, the Tarantula. I haven't played with it yet, but I'm looking forward to giving them a good try out this week. I'll just warn people I've got a little soundbite of Bearlike himself, the lead developer of Mechabellum, talking about his approach to new units. Here it is in Bearlike's own words.
Players always have more imaginations than us. We can only make the tools, but how you gonna use the tools, that's just something we can't predict. That's why we generally make the new units a little weaker, because even if it's weaker, then we can always buff it. But if it's like a OP, it's like if it's very strong, then it's like a very big problem for us. If it's weak, players can just stop using it. But if it's very strong, then it became a big problem.
Bearlike works incredibly hard, and this comment is from a few weeks ago about units in general. And no, I don't want anyone to comment on his use of English. This is his third language, in the middle of a 6-hour stream playing in a tournament, and I'm honestly thankful he's honest with us. But I just want to temper people's expectation, because I know I myself get really excited for a new unit. I was over the moon when the Sabertooth came out, and then the realization that it wasn't very good was a bit of a... it's embarrassing, it shouldn't matter so much to me, but I got a little bit disillusioned. I spent a week desperately looking forward to playing with it, and then the week after it arrived I played them every game in every situation. I tried out every tech, every version, and well, if you know Sabertooth, you know it didn't live up to the hype. And yeah, looking back, I was an idiot. No unit's gonna work in every game, but it was truly weak, and I kinda felt like I wasted 2 weeks of my free time and my excitement, and I kinda resented that. I'm just going to warn everyone right now, the Tarantulas look slightly below average. They're cool, they've got great animations, I haven't played with them myself, so everything here is inferred and could be completely wrong, and I'm sure there'll be some games where they look amazing, particularly in the hands of world-class players. But just go into this with your eyes open. Hope I'm being fair, and I can hope we can all enjoy this new patch. Right, let's get on with the meat and potatoes, the substance of the patch notes. Right out of the gate, the big thing is a new unit, the Tarantula. As I said, I don't have access to the beta server, I have not signed any NDAs, I am just another player. Looking forward to trying them out, I've watched Suri's videos on them, I've talked to Stony, and yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out the new unit. With the spider mines, be a little bit careful, they can blow each other up, so don't go crazy and buy millions of them. There's definitely a sweet spot with the right number, but I'm looking forward to trying them out. But I'm going into this with my eyes open. Fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. This is my 8th new unit, and well, notice how sandworms haven't shown up a lot in my videos. And I love June, probably more than most. I play with my eyes open and I play to win, particularly in tournament games, which is when I'm normally recording. Maybe that's a me thing and I should just upload some ladder games, but I really enjoy tournament games and I like the sense of progression going from one game to the next and the storyline of can we get there, what's our goal, rather than just the endless grind of the ladder. I have a limited amount of free time, so I have to prioritise what I do. So often I try and play smarter rather than harder, and that's the direction I come from. To use an example from another game, in Magic the Gathering, I'm a Timmy who occasionally spikes tournaments but mostly plays for fun. Journey before destination. For those of you interested, my favourite deck is Gishath's Son's Avatar with stupid big dinos, because dinosaurs are awesome and no one can ever convince me otherwise. And you may see parallels with how I use tanks, saber-tooths and fortresses a lot. So this is where I'm coming from. I'm trying to be objective, but we all have our own biases. Hope that makes sense, and sorry for the tangent. New music can only ever be a good thing, particularly if it's good quality. If you don't like it, feel free to mute it, but for me it's a breath of fresh air, I'm sure. And I'm glad they've addressed the licensing issues, because several people were scared to stream Mechabellum because we're getting copyright strikes if we use the in-game music, which was a huge oversight on the first step. It's one track in particular which is on the tournament games in the post-game lobby. I really hope they've removed it, because copyright strikes are no joke, and here on YouTube, if you get 3 strikes, your channel is deleted. Gone. Kapush. Which is hundreds of hours of work, lots of friends and contacts made, just lost. I strongly advise all creators to have a secondary repository of their videos and upload locations such as Floatplane, a certain website of salubrious activities which I will not mention by name, but it rhymes with Corn Hub, or Dailymotion, or any other free to upload online video site of your personal choice. Some of them will have free accounts and some of them will have paid for services. Judge your own needs as necessary. If you're making videos to make an income, which none of us here in Mechabellum are, sorry guys, the game is tiny. We all love it dearly, we play it for fun. The only places you can make income are YouTube and TikTok. I have made over 100 videos here on this channel and never made a penny. I do it for fun and for the love of the game. But yes, less copyright strikes, nice, great move. Reconnecting to games if you get disconnected, awesome. Being honest, I'm kinda surprised we didn't already have this, particularly when we had the your opponent is disconnected, please wait 90 seconds. So what were we waiting for in the past? It's fine, it's all good progress. I hope this makes things better for folks with poor internet connections, but I'm just a little bit nervous it might be abusable by bad actors or trolls. I don't want the game to end up in a situation like Hearthstone where people start roping when they start losing. I think this game's got quite a mature audience, so I think we'll be okay. But this may require monitoring and some community management in future. Just throwing that out there. I know the in-game public chat has worsened in quality recently. Let's all do what we can to make it a fun and friendly place for everyone to play. Let's try not to feed the trolls and help those players who are asking legitimate questions. It's always been my approach and I hope others take after me. Otherwise we'll lose nice things and the game will just be the poorer because of it. Replay system overhaul. Holy moly, this is huge. Such a good idea. You can now jump in and assume control of one of the players from a replay, which is going to make replaying the final round of a game much easier to do. And you can jump in a replay to whichever round you want to by pressing the number keys to the number of round up to number 10 with the 0 key. Again, I've not used this myself yet. I've just watched the Stony video and talked to Stony. But this will be such a powerful tool. The skill ceiling on the game is going to go through the roof. We'll be able to make videos about what you should have done. My only slight worry is this will massively accelerate the time it takes for us to solve a certain patch. And a solved game is a pretty boring game at the top end. But yeah, this feature is definitely going to appeal to competitive or spike type players, but I really don't want to scare off relaxed and casual players. You don't have to use this tool if you don't want to, but it would be a very powerful learning tool. Glad we're getting it, looking forward to playing with it. There are definitely going to be limitations, the AI will be stuck on rails, you'll only really be able to play one turn at a time. But still, imagine 2 players jumping into a replay. And a rewind button. The game is definitely getting very pro-friendly with this feature. And now for the main event, what you've all been waiting for. Balance changes, here we go. Removed Phoenix from the initial lineup cards. You can still unlock them and buy them, they just won't be an option in the starting cards. I've known this was coming for a while, I'd heard rumblings of it from multiple people, and I think it's a great change, I'll be honest. Starting Phoenixes had always had a higher than average win rate. They provided a scaling answer to any and all mid to late game threats, demanded an immediate answer themselves. Because of their evasion, being a flying unit, it gave you rather limited options in turn 1 if you were on the receiving end of having to deal with them. So yeah, I can totally understand this change. And if you really like playing early Phoenixes, just grab the aerial specialist and you'll be able to do it straight away anyway. But now it will come at an opportunity cost and not the roll of a dice at the start of the game. Fully on board with that. Oh no, my beloved fortress. Losing yet more HP. Anti-air barrage going down by 10 meters is pretty big as well. Much easier to keep Phoenixes safe from it. Barrier cost going up to 400. Ouch, it was just nerfed by 10% last patch. It's a strong ability, but it's a big part of the identity of the unit. Double shot going down from 200 to 150. Please remember, double shot is different to launcher overload. Double shot is where it fires twice at each target, at cost of attack speed like Scorpions get. No one runs it. Only useful really versus shielded fangs and maybe mechanical division steel balls. We're not using it because it's not too expensive, we're not using it because it's not very good. Fortress is already overkill most things. Yeah, overall this is a huge nerf to Fortress. Base HP nerf is massive for a frontline unit, and 2 of its key techs have both gotten hammered. Anti-air barrage will still be viable, and I can understand it with Phoenixes going out from the starting cards, but the barrier cost nerf feels really harsh. 3 patches in a row now where Fortress is still getting hammered. Big winner here is fire badges. The barrier is what you often use to protect your units, and the Fortress itself is a great way of killing the badges. Oh well, we'll have to see how this plays. But yeah, I feel like Belek has a grudge against me. When we last met in a tournament, I beat him with Fortress carry, and since then they've had non-stop nerfs. I'm sure he's got win rate data, but it is a 400 cost unit, so you'd expect it to be slightly higher than average on win rates. Anyway, let's have a look at the next 400 cost unit, the Vulcan. Gains some extra damage, nice. Rotate speed going up, wow, okay. The Vulcan Fire going 25% faster, ooh, that's big. Should make it harder for crawlers with mechanical rage or subterranean tech and speed from the tower getting straight to the feet, and then spreading out around the Vulcan, making the Vulcan pretty useless. Overall, a good change, but I think fundamentally, the Vulcan is too far behind other alternatives for Chaffclair. Fire badges are just better than them. Wraiths can fly, kill all chaff, and become a carry threat in the late game. We're just getting Tarantula added. Then you've got the classics of Arc Lights and Sledgehammers, who are all absolutely fine at Chaffclair. So what is the role of the Vulcan? Belek, if you're listening, hire me and we'll talk. Jokes, but they need a reason to exist. I suggest giving them barrier shield like Fortress, or an anti-air tech like Sandworm, because most of the area units are quite squishy. Vulcan can provide an interesting answer to them as well. And there's already game levers in place to protect against it, because you've got Overlord and Wraith with armor as one of their tech options. If you do that though, Wasp will need a buff, because there's already a lot of counters to Wasps. Right, next, Melting Point has been the top end of choice, it feels like, all patch. Sometimes you will run into combat factories, but melters have been pretty much everywhere. Another HP decrease, I don't mind that in the slightest. EMP goes down from 13 seconds to 8 seconds, having just gone from 16 to 13 last patch. I think the tech looks dead to me, I'm not quite sure. All it's good for now is breaking Fortress shields. You've already got photon emission as a hard counter to it as well, and this version doesn't hit aircraft. Yeah. That's a big nerf. Crawler spawn takes an extra 4 seconds to produce, yep, understandable. Hate seeing boards full of 16 melting points producing crawlers. Energy absorption goes up from 40% bonus to 60% bonus HP. It's a lot of health, but if your melters are getting focused down, you've probably already lost the battle. Bit conflicted on this one. I don't run lifesteal, therefore I think it probably needs a buff, but at the same time, unkillable raid boss melting points are a little bit boring. Energy diffraction going down from 250 to 150. Meme melters back on the menu. It does come at the cost of range, remember, but it can be a very strong defensive tech if you're facing aggro a lot. Overall, massive nerfs to melting points. Suspect they're making space at the top end for the new unit, because these are all the top end kill single targets. So yeah, tarantulas might actually have space to breathe, and hey, you never know, maybe saber-tooths do as well. But the big winner from these nerfs is actually Scorpion, because it won't be permanently EMP'd by melting points. That's my gut instinct anyway, we'll have to see. Next, wasps, tiny HP increase, and a change to high explosive ammo. No one runs it, no change overall. Probably just a proportional HP buff to compare with the Fang changes coming next. Speaking of which, 4% more damage, negligible. It's rare Fangs get to sit there and shoot at anything. Portable shield going up, ooh, from 450 to 500, ouch. The most expensive tech in the game now. And you'll still have to run it and have to use it, because it doubles how much chaff you've got at the click of a button. Ignite going down from 300 to 200, meh. Again, you don't use Fangs for DPS right now. And their frontline bodyguards, the fortress with shields, have been kneecapped pretty hard. So the triple F comp, Fang, Fort, Phoenix. Yeah, I don't think Fang's going to be picking up the slack where the Forts and Phoenixes have left off. I wonder if constantly nerfing the best techs on the most popular units is going to end up with the ridiculous situation we had in Counter-Strike, where they did a trial, where depending on how popular a gun was, the price of it went up. And yeah, the two main rifles went all the way to the sky, and it broke the game completely, and was removed in, what, 72 hours? I'd just say be careful with this approach to balancing. The tech on Fangs is popular because they need it, and Fangs are popular because we need them as well. Making us pay through the nose for what we need is not going to make the game a heap of fun, and all you're doing is promoting artificial change. This looks suspicious like a push to try and make Tarantula look better, because portable shield is the only way Fangs can survive it, and they're never going to do enough damage to kill it even with cheap ignite. Fang carry is gone not because Fangs are weak, but because chaff clear is so ubiquitous. Everyone knows they need it, and there are so many powerful tools that I've already discussed when talking about the Vulcan. So sorry, but I'm not going to repeat myself. Fangs are chaff, making their chaff tech cost more is not a good thing. We're using it because it's the only thing that works for the role that they fill. Please don't punish us for using units correctly. Sorry, end of my personal crusade on this one. Getting a bit of a vibe from these patch notes, it's a bit too much stick, not enough carrot. Nerfing everything that top end players use is getting a little bit tiresome. Bring the floor up, don't just keep bashing the ceiling down. Overload, bigger HE ammo splash, bigger cost, still won't use it. If my overlords are stuck killing chaff, then my army has far greater issues, and I will not be turning to this tech to try and fix them. Okay, sledgehammers, AP bullets, interesting spelling. Going up to 250 supply, ooh, but also gain extra 50% damage and an extra 30% attack interval. What? 2 seconds, let me go calculate this. Okay, so it works out to about a 20% DPS increase over the old version of this technology, and overall it's actually a 54% DPS increase at cost of rate of fire. And remember, this technology is competing with mechanical rage, which increases tanks' rate of fire by 33%, giving a 50% damage increase itself. Carry tanks might be able to go AP shots more often now, because this and mechanical rage are multiplicative, because you get both this and mechanical rage, and you're getting, what, 230% damage compared to base 100%? Looks viable, but do remember tank base damage is incredibly low. So percent gains can look very impressive, but when you're dealing with a very low base damage to begin with, it's not quite so spectacular. Looking forward to testing it out though. Glad we've got a bit more choice here and it's not just a clear mechanical rage is best tech for tanks. And there's a 20% nerf to extended range tanks coming up at the end of the patch as well. Okay, arc lights. Charge shot now 100 cheaper. Yeah, they've needed this. Carry arc light has been pretty dead since the charge shot change. Hopefully this can give it a fresh injection of vigour. And perhaps another predator for early game steel balls. Yet again giving Tarantula a little bit more breathing space to work with. Okay, I can understand what they're doing here. I suspect the Tarantula on live now will look better than it did on the beta patch. Okay, Phoenixes. Quantum reassembly down from 300 to 200. Still a bit of a meme technology. If your Phoenixes are dying quickly, you're losing the battle elsewhere. I think this might combine quite well with War Factory Phoenix production, but ever since production limits were added, I've rarely seen production factories over just straight combat factories. So I doubt this will see much play in 1 versus 1, but in 2 versus 2 and 4-player brawl, this technology will be everywhere. Well, that's probably a little bit hyperbolic. It'll be more popular when there's more map space to abuse. War Factory, HE ammo attack reduction lessened from 40% to 30%, bonus splash goes up from 5 meters to 7 meters, and the tech cost has been increased from 150 to 200. I'll be honest, I'd completely forgotten that War Factory could even take HP ammo as an upgrade, but why would I want to use my War Factories as chaff clear? We have so many better other chaff clear options. I would be really surprised if this sees regular play. but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Wraith, HE ammo attack reduction just like above, going down from 40% to 30%. Congratulations aggro, you're ahead of the curve. Actually kinda surprised that Wraith's got a buff this patch, even one this small. I'm seeing a lot of carry Wraith lately. I'm sure my sample size is tiny compared to the grand scheme of things, but Wraiths feel very strong right now. No clue what tech you'd swap out to put this on. Wraiths definitely need range and 8-fold artillery array for carry, and then 1 of armor or field maintenance so they survive, and then degen beam is like one of the most powerful techs in the game right now. So yeah, just like War Factory, I don't see HE ammo actually happening much for Wraith. They're already fantastic at clearing chaff, but I guess if you want to go all in true carry Wraith, this is a way of doing it. This range, 8-fold artillery array and degen beam, and you are unstoppable, but that's going to cost you an absolute fortune. Scorpion, siege mode range has gone up to 80 meter benefit rather than 70, so it's effectively countering out the nerf they got 2 patches ago. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of siege scorpions. They just shoot so slowly. And they miss. Yeah, there are some games where it's invaluable, and I do run it as a long-range acid delivery service, but that's more because there aren't many good options for acid delivery, not because I think this is particularly viable. Sorry, Siege Scorp is still probably dead, and considering how little counterplay there is to it, probably for good reason. Unless they want to let anti-missile devices also shoot down Scorpion shells when they're floating above the battlefield. But that opens a whole new can of worms, and yeah, no. Extreme long-range indirect fire weapons are always a pain to balance in strategic games. So yeah, I think Siege Scorpion will be kept intentionally weak for a while. Sandworm, lava HP increased, don't care, it still dies to a scorpion shell. Scorpion shoots at mother worm, baby worm dies as well. Baby worms are useless. Sorry, I'm sure some folks will love them, but unless they get thrown out by their mother across the battlefield, I just don't see how they can work. New units intentionally weak, sound familiar? Right, almost there, equipment. Ooh, that's big, from 35 meters to 20, but also going down to 50 cost. Interesting. Still incredibly unique and powerful, but no longer doubling the range of a unit like a Wraith or a Steel Ball. I like this change. Though scanning down, I'm noticing a tendency to nerf everything. Improved fire control goes from 100% attack to 70% attack, but it's also going down in cost. Overall, actually quite good for Mustangs. Amp Core goes from 60% HP and attack to 50% but keeps its base cost, a fairly minor change. Heavy Armor going from plus 100% HP to plus 80%. Cost hasn't changed, a lot less swing in the other game then. Personal Shield still gives you plus 100% though. But I guess you can't regen a shield, so it makes sense. Super Armor from plus 200 to plus 150. Cost going down from 300 to 200, might be viable. If you put anything big, it's still going to get melted. Photon cost from 50 to 3, yeah, still very weak. I'd like to see its duration extended, I'll be honest. Ever since the damage reduction went from 50% to 30%, I've been very rarely happy to pick this up. Advanced firepower control gone. Ooh, Mustang carry is dead. No, still another powerful item just gone, because it was too good on Mustangs. Difficult, isn't it? Either you let things break the game or you don't. It's up to you. Overall, all the equipment got weaker. Not sure I'm a fan. I feel like we're in a bit of a race to the bottom right now, where everything's average and boring. Maybe I'm just tired from reading so long a patch note and not seeing a lot to get excited by. Sorry, I feel a bit like a negative Nancy right now. Maybe my expectations for this patch were a bit too high. Right, variants. Assault Stormcaller, HP bonus from 250% to 350%. It looks tempting on paper, don't do it, the loss of range is massive. Fortified Hacker gaining 20% attack. Oh no, this actually looks viable. They do lose range when they go fortified, but they get so much HP. They've got access to barrier shields. If they get any levels at all, they become a nightmare. Being honest, I absolutely hate hackers. I was happy that they'd fallen out of the meta. Oh well, hopefully I'm getting worried over nothing. Mass-produced Scorpion, HP and attack reduction change from 30% to 20%, but they still lose the minus 10 range when they go mass-produced, which is massive. Means they get outranged by Mustangs and tanks. I personally don't think mass-produced Scorpion is viable. Extended range Sledgehammer HP reduction decreased from 30% to 20%, but it now loses 20% attack as well. Ooh, I see why you snuck this one in right at the end. This is not going to be popular. This card is single-handedly keeping Carry Sledge alive. I'll be honest, this is probably a good and needed change, but I'm a little bit salty. I love playing carry tanks. Ever since Scorpion walked onto the scene, carry tank has been dead. We've seen a little bit of life ever since the Scorpion nerf, where he lost 10 range. And yeah, I get it, if someone gets the perfect start with, the 4 tank opener, gets level 2 on 2 of them, then gets this card round 2, it can feel like the game's over at that point. But go airborne, buy Scorpions. I think the issue with extended range tanks is actually their access to EMP, which can make them a nightmare if they get to 180 meter range, but then that's what Stormcallers with EMP have as well. And yeah, I hate Stormcallers too. I'm so glad we've got so many more tools for dealing with them nowadays. Assault Vulcan is now free, versus Frontline Aggro it's slightly more viable. Extended range Marksman now loses HP as well, makes sense. Assault Marksman with this card was a nightmare. Improved Overlord no longer increases their range, but instead gives their biggest splash. Not interested. Unit drops. Nerfed Fire Badger and Sabretooth cards. Thank you! We've needed this for a while. Half the time you pick either of those two without even thinking about anything else. Nerfed high level Fort, Rhino, Wraith and Sabretooth cards. Yeah, I understand it. Bit sad to lose some of the fun drops. They're all melting point bait. If your opponent forgets to buy a melting point, they'll lose if you drop that. But again, I think we're pushing towards the mean and losing a bit of the fun. Slightly increased supply limit in rounds 3 and 4. Okay, hopefully this broadens the options, because pretty much in these turns you're either picking Fire Badger, Scorpion or Mustang depending on what you need. Chaff Clear tank busting our anti-air. Hopefully this opens up the variety of options we get. Personally, sometimes I like the option to skip on a free unit drop turn, particularly at the end of 4-player brawl games, where the cheapest card you're offered is 750. If you didn't earn big in the last round, you're going to be struggling this round to make any changes, but that's a 4-player brawl issue. Not a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. Okay, overall some good changes. I'm a little bit more excited for Tarantulas now I've seen the patch notes. I think Forts are getting over-nerfed. Vulcans are slowly edging their way back into viability, but they're still competing far too much with Fire Badgers, no surprises there. Melting Point's getting slammed really hard, and Fang Shield being crazy expensive I think it's going to need reverting, unless they get another technology which helps them with being chaff at some point soon. HE ammo improving across the board. Not really that important, I'll be honest. You're only ever going to see it on Stormcallers. Lots of equipment changes. Not sure I'm a fan of everything shrinking in size, but at least the costs on some of them came down as well. I am still terrified of fortified hackers. Hopefully it's completely unfounded. Well, I hope you found this useful. I hope right now you're all playing with tarantulas and blasting things to smithereen. Let me know if you like this format of video, if you find it useful. Feels a little dry to me. Maybe that's editing DRN wanting to put more memes in and not finding space. Let me know what you think of the patch. Is there anything I've missed? And how awesome are tarantulas? Thanks for watching as always, and a particular thank you to those folks who stayed to the end. I'll see you tomorrow for my thoughts on tarantulas.